call our October 27 Jackson County Commission meeting to order. We'll have our roll call.
District 1, Mr. Guthrie.
Present.
District 2, Mr. Venable.
Present.
District 3, Mr. Miller.
Present.
And District 4, Mr. Levin.
Present.
Quorum is present. Can conduct business. We'll have our invocation by Mr. Porter and our pledge by Mr. Dillon.
Our God, our Father in heaven, we're here today and we're blessed and we're so thankful for the change of season, the beautiful weather you provided for us. We thank you for all the natural beauty that is your creation. We thank you for these men as they deliberate and discuss the matters that are important to this county. We pray for wisdom and discernment on their behalf to make good decisions that affect all citizens of the county. God, we thank you for all the members and their families. We thank you for all the people of Jackson County. We pray that you'll be with them and to comfort them and guide them and direct them and help them in all the ways that they need help. Be with our men and women in the armed services, God, because we now know that they are in harm's way every day. We pray that you'll be with them, comfort their families, pray that they'll be safe and they'll come home safely. We pray all these things in Christ's name. Amen.
Amen.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
First item is approval of the minutes from the previous meeting. We have those minutes before us. Have time to review those. Or have any changes to the minutes before we proceed? Have a motion to approve the minutes as presented.
So moved.
Motion, have a second. Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay. Next item is approval of the agenda for the meeting. Any changes before we proceed?
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to combine item 4, 5, and 6.
Combine items 4, 5, and 6.
Yes, sir.
Make a decision on those together separate at that time. Okay, any other changes? Okay, we have a motion to approve the agenda with 4 items. That fourth one to include the last 3.
So moved.
Motion, we have a second.
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed say no. No awards or presentations. I don't think we've had anyone sign up this afternoon. Thank you. Move on to old business, and the first and only item on old business is motion to approve the increasing of the marine rates for Jackson County Park. We've discussed this a couple times before. I think at the last work session that we had, we wanted to go ahead and move forward with this, but also to include a provision, if I understand, we would include a provision where if you pay a year in advance, you get a month free. Is that correct? That's the will of the commission. Is there any other discussion on this then, before we proceed? And as far as the date that this would be adopted, are we looking at January 1st?
Yes,
Okay, and as far as the payment in advance, when would we want that to begin?
January.
January 1st? Okay.
Yes, sir. And we'll send a letter out. We'll send a billing out by Thursday, so it'll be, the letter will be in there by Thursday with billing,
Okay.
if y'all approve it.
Any questions or comments on this? Okay, do we have a motion to approve the increase of rates along with that change in provision?
Make that motion.
Motion, do we have a second?
Second.
Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Next item, motion to approve, first new business item, motion to approve the funding for the purchase of the roll-off containers and equipment. We received an estimate last week. All of this equipment can be purchased off of a national bid contract, correct?
That's correct.
So it'd be my recommendation, if we choose to move forward with this, that we would do this, utilize a line of credit and set a maximum amount, whether that be the amount listed of $325,000 or $320,000, but list a maximum amount that we would allow for the purchase of all this equipment. So, any recommendation on how to proceed or what that amount would be? And the only reason for doing that, of course, would be to allow us to mix and match between the pipes and containers. I think we have 20 and 30 yards, but there may be a couple of 10 yards. We want to get.
That's correct, yes, I have a price list on the, there's not a whole lot of difference in the cost of a 10 versus a 20, maybe about $250 less, so there's not a lot of difference, but,
Do you feel confident in this number,
I'm sorry.
in this number here? Do you feel confident we can get the ones that we need?
Yeah, I think Mr. Hodges mentioned 320,000, you know, we could maybe get another extra one or something like that. That would give us about 20, possibly, about 20 containers. But yeah, the number with 20 containers would be exact.
I wouldn't get very many tens.
Yeah, we was thinking maybe, you know, we talked about 10 20s and 10 30s. We was thinking maybe do 2 10s and 8 30s and 10 20s. From talking, we feel like 20 might be a kind of one everybody likes. Later on, we might could go to a 40. Now, they get quite a bit higher on the 40 yards, but see how these go first, and maybe if we start, when we start to expand, we might look at some 40s in. And if we start getting a lot of calls for them, maybe, you know, we might need to come back and get a couple, but the 40s are a very large container, and, you know, we really don't know if they'd be a
The
market for it or
30s will
not.
be utilized more probably throughout the county.
We could back into maybe 8 20s and 2 10s and 10 30s.
Yeah.
If we, again, if we approve them out, we can, before we order, make sure.
Oh, yeah, I'll make sure everybody knows, yeah.
What about personnel? I mean, you're not gonna have to add any personnel?
No, sir.
I make a motion, we, set the amount of $320,000.
Motion and a second. Any further discussion? I know we've looked at some rates on this. We will need to get an updated rate schedule before, of course, we start the program, but we'll have all that worked out, and this should take a few months before we get this rate.
Would like to add one more thing too. I talked to the vendor, it's probably about 120 days delivery after we give them the go-ahead. So, he said should be able to have it 120 days, maybe just a little bit after that.
Any other questions or comments? Okay, we have a motion and a second for up to $320,000. Again, that's from the line of credit, is that correct, Mr. Duffy? Yeah. Motion approved. Okay, any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Those opposed say no. Okay. The next item is a motion to approve and appoint a member to the Marshall Jackson MRA Board. We did have a vacancy that became available in the passing of a board member, Leighton Cook, and a recommendation for an appointment to this position. So we can continue to advertise this, or we could take the recommendation this evening, however we want to proceed. Entertain a motion out of the way.
Make a motion, we take Mr. John's recommendation.
Okay, we have a recommendation to accept, or a motion to accept the recommendation. Have a second?
Second.
Any discussion on this? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Next is a motion to approve and appoint members to the Mountain Lake Tourism Board. You have before you 5 names that were presented, 5 names of folks that had some interest. We did actually receive a notification from only one of them, and that was Mr. Woodall. So at this time, we'll open the floor for nominations for this position.
How long is this nomination for?
This position, I believe, is 2 years, so it'll go through 6 terms.
Is this the list?
Yes, the first page is the list of, that's a list of names, and only one of them submitted anything in writing. The others, I think, were listed of people with interest. The second page shows the appointment, the most recent appointment. Mr. Barr served on that recently.
I make a motion, we appoint Mr. Woodall.
Have a motion for Mr. Woodall, for nomination. Do you have any other nominations? Any other nominations? Any other nominations? Okay, then we'll entertain that motion there, Mr. Ledler. A motion for Mr. Woodall, we have a second? Second. Okay, any other questions or comments? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Okay. And the final item is regarding the approval of our dues for Tarpog, NACO, and the AMRV, RC, and annual dues or something we do every year. I think when we looked at it last year, we looked at the budget, we saw these were good items to be a part of. So before any further discussion, entertain a motion to approve these dues.
Motion.
Motion and a second.
Second.
Any further discussion on this item? All those in favor say aye. Those opposed say no. Okay. That concludes the items on our agenda. You have in your packets a copy of the meetings for next month. Everything should be on regular Mondays. And with that, move on to our report. Mr. Manning? Nothing. Mr. Porter?
I don't think so.
Mr. Wider?
Just like to remind everybody of a week from tomorrow will be our annual Veterans Day lunch that we'll have, Public Works, and I'd like to invite everybody to come down. A week from tomorrow, November the 4th.
Mr. Barnes?
No.
Chief Deputy? Mr. Miller?
Motion.
Mr. Guthrie?
No, sir.
Mr. Reynolds?
Motion.
Mr. Evans?
Motion.
That concludes the items for our agenda this evening, so we'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Motion, have a second.